Okay, on this lesson, we're going to talk about how to paint a simple sailboat using a palette knife. And I'm going to start off with the drawing first. I'm using a flat edge brush. I'm using yellow ochre for my outline paint. So I'm just going to draw my horizon line and my top of my sailboat. Now I'm using a 9 by 12 masonite board, which is as you can see already gessoed. Um, I'm drawing the sailboat fairly large, so it can take up most of the top part of the canvas board, or the masonite board. So you can kind of draw your sailboat the same way. You can print out the picture that I attached to the page of this site that hosts this video, and you can just print it out and draw, kind of similar to what I'm doing. Or you can just watch the video and draw just like straight from the video. But either way, um, you can draw the sailboat pretty easily. It's mostly basically shapes, triangles and rectangles, so it's pretty easy. Here I'm going to add some shadows. You see I put a little shadows on the bottom part of the sailboat. Now I'm going to kind of just show where the reflection will be of the sailboat in the water. Um, and then I'm going to get ready to start moving towards the paint. I'm going to start with my sky first. Let me put a little bit more reflection in that first. I'm just trying to, just make sure I show every little small increment of the sailboat within the painting. All right. Now I'm going to add my trees. I forgot about my trees. And draw my sections of the sailboat. Each section is going to be painted a different color. So now what I'm going to do in this particular paint, I'm going to add some Liquitex Heavy Body Gel, Glossy Medium. And what this medium do when I mix it in with the paint, it makes the paint actually more like oil paint. And as you can see here, I have it on my plate. It's kind of white, pasty look. It helps makes the paint a little bit stiffer, and it kind of helps the acrylic paint feels like oil paint. So um, two of the benefits, it makes it feel like oil, it makes it look like oil, and it also makes it feels like oil. So that's what I like about it, and it gives nice texture too. So, and here I'm going to add my start on my sky. I have a mixture of white with aqua blue and cerulean blue for my sky. I normally start my sky from top to bottom, but here I'm going to start from the bottom where it's touching the trees and move my way up. And I'm kind of going to have it sort of like a lighter tone blue, and I'm going to darken it up as I move to the top of the surface of my masonite board. And what you can do is just kind of lightly just layer the paint, not going in any particular direction or anything. And as I move up, I'm going to gradually just make my hue darker and darker by adding more of the aqua blue and cerulean blue and less of the white. Now remember, I am adding my heavy body gel medium within the paint. So for this particular lesson, you can add it if you want to. You don't have to. One thing I like about painting with the gel, this type of gel, medium gel, is that it because it thickens up my paint, it doesn't make my paint transparent. So I don't have to keep going over a certain spot over and over again. Whereas the gel kind of thickens it up, so I can just kind of hit one spot and keep on going. This is my favorite part. I just love mixing those colors, especially showing the gradual change from light to dark. And I love the way it feels. It feels just like oil. It feels like oil paint, excuse me. Make sure I clarify. Not oil, but oil paint. And again, just going back and forth with my palette knife. Just gradually just moving up. Kind of like in the X motion. Kind of get over to the right. You'll be seeing me going back and forth as I paint each side of the painting. I'm getting pretty close to done with the sky. Let's get the top part. As you can see, I created some nice texture with that heavy body gel medium. And here I'm darkening up my blue just a little bit by adding more cerulean blue. I'm just loving that sky. Looks good. Once I finish the top part of this, I'll go ahead and start moving towards my trees. And I'll work on my way down to the water and then the boat. I'll save the boat for last. And now I'm going to finish up on the right side, and that should be it. As you can see, adding a little bit more cerulean blue to my palette that I already have. Adding some more the heavy body gel medium, thicken it up. And that should be close to finishing with the sky. Okay, that should be it for the sky. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on to the trees. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see the texture just a little bit better. Alright, now for my trees, the colors that I'm going to use for my trees are deep green, terra verde, and yellow. I'm using like a cadmium yellow. Now for my green, I'm going to start with the deep green first, and then I'm going to paint from the bottom to the top. Um, and as I move closer to the top, I'm going to lighten up the tree just a little bit with the terra verde and the cadmium yellow. Same as I did the sky, I'm going to gradually just uh, do a gradual change from light to dark. But in this part of the painting with the trees, I'm going to start from dark to light. I'm mixing a little bit of that terra verde within my deep green. And as I move up, I'm going to add some of that yellow. As you can see, I'm mixing it in now. Takes a minute to mix all those colors together to get it just right. All right, here we go. As you can see, it's a totally different green from the deep green. And I'm just going to nicely kind of mix it in just a little bit with the darker green. Since the dark green is still wet, it's going to make a nice effect when I apply the lighter green on top of the darker green. Again, I'm still have mixing it all in with my heavy body gel medium. Now I made it just a little bit lighter. Added more yellow to that particular hue that I had before. Looking pretty good. Probably add a little bit more yellow too. I think I will once I finish this right side. But this is a simple, easy, fairly easy painting that you can do. You can add other things to it if you like, sun, clouds, um, more than one boat actually. It's up to you. But I just kind of want to give you an idea of how to kind of just start and do the sky and the water and that kind of thing. I definitely would encourage you to use the heavy body gel medium. Just kind of see how um, it works and also the difference in the process of the overall painting. Kind of define the horizon line a little bit, clean that up, try to make it a little bit straighter. All right, now I'm going to go to the ocean. Here, I'm going to use ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, and white. I'm not going to use aqua blue. It's a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to use these three particular colors for the ocean. Now the top part of the ocean, well, the farther back the ocean is, I'm going to have it sort of lighter actually, and I'm going to darken it up as I get closer to um, the foreground. That's kind of how it looks in the painting, so that's the reason why. Here I'm using more cerulean blue, and as I move down further, closer to the boat, and where the reflection is of the boat, I'm going to use more ultramarine blue. Now I'm going to add some of the ultramarine blue, kind of darken it up a little bit. Now painting water can be a little difficult, especially with all the different values. You got middle blues, dark blues, light blues. So it can be a little tricky. I'm just going to try to get as close as I can to the picture. Not going to be exact, but just get an idea of where some of the light and dark areas are in the picture. I'm going to have it kind of close to it in the painting as well. Using the tip of my palette knife to kind of get around those small edges around the boat. It's kind of hard to paint fast using that heavy body gel medium because it stiffens up the paint. I'm not able to paint as fast as I normally would if I didn't have the gel added to the paint. So it's a slower painting process, but overall I like it. Here I see is a little bit lighter, so I'm going to add it just a little bit lighter on the picture. And I'm pretty much going to do this throughout the whole um, part that I'm painting for the ocean. Some parts are going to be light, some parts are going to be dark. Kind of get as close as I can to the painting. Use my finger here, just kind of smooth it out a little bit to show the shadow up under the boat. If you notice, I'm painting over the reflection of the boat, which is fine. I just did that for basically to kind of show where the reflection will be, but I'm gonna go back over it once the blue has dried. Yeah, I'm darkening it up just a little bit. I'm just adding a little bit more darker blue, just kind of um, give the ocean just a little bit more depth. We're getting close to finishing this ocean. I'll be moving on to the boat. But as you can see, I'm doing different variations of the blue. Just kind of help show the waves and the light and dark areas of the ocean. Put a few highlights, and that should be it. Should be getting close to finishing the ocean. I'll be moving on to the boat. And kind of clean this up a little bit, especially right up in here. Sometimes it's hard to paint in those tight areas with a palette knife, so just come back in and clean those up. All right, now what I'm gonna do is paint the actual sail, and I'm gonna use beige, cadmium red, cadmium orange, cadmium yellow, and yellow ochre. So the top part has a reddish tone, so I'm gonna add a little beige and cadmium red to do the top part of the sailboat. And I'm gonna work my way down. Now here I'm using a smaller palette knife, just kind of get in those small areas. I'm not sure what number palette knife this is. And I'm using the RGM palette knife brand. Each section of the sail is like a different color, so I'm just applying the different colors as I see them in the actual picture. You can create your sail whatever color you like. Drop my palette knife. It happens. Got a little paint in the water, but that's okay. Clean that up. Sometimes I use the tip of the palette knife to kind of define the outline part of the object that I'm painting. So here I did the sail part of the boat. Just kind of help define the shape of the sail. In the picture, there's an actual pole. I guess that holds up the sail. Yeah, I actually use ultramarine blue for the actual pole. And add a little bit more yellow to this particular section of the sail. In the picture is a little bit yellowy, a little bit more yellowy than the bottom section below it. Here I'm using the tip of the palette knife to kind of define the shape of the sail. A lot of scratching going on. Here I'm going to use just a little of the blue that I already had from the water. I'm going to use some of that blue to kind of show some shadows within the sail. Now I'm going to paint on the bottom part of the boat. The colors that I'm using for this particular part of the boat is cadmium orange and white, and a little bit of yellow too. Now the back part of the boat is a little bit darker, so what I did was just add a little bit of blue to the orange that I already had. As you know, blue and orange are complementary colors, so whenever you're making a shadow of any color, you always use the complementary color of that particular color. So the complementary color of orange would be blue, so I just add a little bit of blue to the um, the orange that I already had on my plate. And here I'm just using the tip of my palette knife to get inside the small area. There's another shadow over here on the right side. And now I'm going to start adding my little highlights on the boat. Clean this up a little bit. At the bottom, there's a little shadow at the bottom part of the boat where the boat touches the water. So I'm going to put some of that color that I had before at the bottom of the boat. Then I'll be going on to move on to paint the reflection, the boat's reflection in the water. All right, now I'm going to start adding my reflections. And basically, I'm going to use the same colors that I had for the boat. And I'm just going to lightly rub the palette knife across my ocean. Now, the blue in the ocean is already dried up, so it's going to be kind of easy to paint over it. And I just put my palette knife, just put it right in the paint. I'm just going to rub it against the dried blue, if that makes any sense. Because the blue is already dry, it kind of makes it easier for me to paint the reflection. The reflection is not mixing in with the blue. The paint from the reflection is not mixing in with the blue, so that makes it a lot easier. So you definitely want to make sure your water is dry before you paint the reflection. You don't want to put too much paint on the palette knife. It kind of leave a big smudge. So kind of be careful. If you do, just get a wet cloth or something to wipe it off. I'm going to turn my palette knife kind of upside down. Well, actually upside down, so I can get that pointed shape that reflects the pointed shape of the sail. And it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Just putting out just a little of that color out in the water. And that should be it. I hope you guys learned a lot from this particular lesson. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you so